Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on Joy Asonye Live this beautiful evening. Today we'll be taking the conversation to solving the SME funding challenge in Nigeria. And we're going to have a one-on-one with a regular analyst on the show, Apostle Williams Iheanacho Otabil. He is the chairman by Naija project. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Yes, thank you for having me today.
It's always so wonderful to have you because you have this passion for the Nigerian SMEs and what can happen in our economy. You always have ideas, some of which, like it said, I'd like to steal your brain a bit on the show today.
Yes, it is a privilege to serve the Nigerian people and represent the micro, small and medium enterprises, especially the micro and small enterprise people.
Right. Yes. Speaking about the small and medium-sized enterprises, they are the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, accounting for around 84% of employment and contributing significantly to the country's GDP. However, the businesses often struggle to access funding. They need to grow, the need to grow and scale in their businesses, with many facing challenges when it comes to securing financing from financial institutions. We'll be discussing that, but that's after we go on this short break and come back. Welcome back from that. We are discussing the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises and the challenges in assessing funding. Well, Apostle Williams Iheanacho Otabil is my guest, and I would like to start with a good precedent. Where do you think we are? There's a report that says we contribute, or rather MSMEs contribute 84% of employment in Nigeria, and of course, with how much it's so much that that sector contributes to the GDP. However, if anybody understands how important this sector is, why do we have this bureaucracy and stifling policies that do not let them access funding?
Yes, the important thing is that first we have to appreciate the environment where we are operating from. So we have to, first of all, start from government policies. There are very beautiful policies and plans by government. In the year 2014, in January, February, the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, released a document called NIRP, Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan. And we identified 7 enablers of pillars that will drive industrial revolution as we need in Nigeria and Africa. And the source of funding or finance is a major pillar. Patronage is a major pillar. So those two constitute the front end and the back end.
Right.
By the time you source funding or finance to kickstart your enterprise to start, the end point is to sell what you produce. Because if you are not able to sell,
there's no point.
And that's where Buy Naija comes in. So Buy Naija has to recognize the point that without finance, there will be no starting, there will be no continuity. Patronage now comes in. So talking about finance, by statistics from this Bureau of Statistics and SMEs, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, a very key parastatal of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, 2016 estimates, we have about 40 million micro, small and medium enterprises, of which the bulk of the percentage constitutes micro and small. Those are the people who really have the challenges, because the medium enterprises, the big boys, as it were, and the large enterprises, they have collateral, they have access to finance.
Right.
So the people who really need it, who constitute that 40 million and contributing 84% to our GDP and employment, they don't have access to finance. Of the 5 point something trillion of toxic debt that is in the banking system, by the last time I checked, it was the big boys that have
aren't paying back.
They're not paying back.
And yet, so they finger the startups as being risky.
And the startups are classified as no-go area for banks. They'll say they don't fund startups. If somebody does not start, how does he finish?
Finish, exactly.
So must you need to steal money to start a business? So that is the crux of the matter. There is a big problem in accessing finance for micro and small enterprises. And I know this. Most people, if you want to start a business, either from your savings, from your retirement benefits, from uncles, bank of uncles, aunties, relations, your father, or you would have stolen money from somewhere, the Nigerian setting. Why we have so much corruption is that lack of access for start-up business, for even people who want to retire, is a driving factor for corruption. I know it. What will I do when I retire and I don't have any stored up money? I will not get a loan from the bank. I can't spend from my retirement benefits. So you have to source it by taking care of your post-retirement source of funding for business. We've interviewed a lot of people. There's no real good framework for startups. And that's a major problem. So having said that, we are not here to talk about problems, but government has been doing a lot. First of all, have identified that finance is a problem.
Right.
So they have come up with solution. You have the Bank of Industry,
Bank of Agriculture.
You have Bank of Agriculture, you have Development Bank.
Exactly.
You have Nexim Bank.
Would you say there's appreciable effort in
there has been appreciable effort
that has reverberated?
But the issue is this issue of banks don't fund startups and collateral, issue of collateral. How many post-university people did collateral or have access to collateral? You get it now. So those things are there. The government has tried to do some things. People can use their certificate, their degree as collateral and start. But government has tried, but it's not actually having impact on the people on the streets, the micro and small enterprise people.
Right.
So much I'll be talking about micro and small enterprise people because they are the highly impacted people, more than 30-something million of the 40 million. In fact, the other medium enterprises, they don't come up to 20,000 in the whole country.
Really?
That's
the medium.
The medium and the large enterprises. They don't. So what I'm calling 40 million, most of them are subsumed inside the micro and small.
Right.
In the micro, most of them are what you call the informal sector. They drive a system. The Okafor that is doing shoe is a micro. He doesn't have money to buy some machines. The Yabo that is packaging honey doesn't even have enough money to pay for NAFDAC certification. But they are struggling. In all these things, you need to have good packaging. You need to meet the standards of standard organization. Government is trying through standard organization.
To reduce the bottleneck.
Yeah, the bottleneck. So all manner of interventions are coming in. But our financial system has to be re-engineered to be micro and small enterprise friendly. And this issue of startups should be looked into. We can have project managed startups. We can have shared facility industrial clusters that are sequestered end to end, no leakage. And we need to have a situation where a well-organized offtake system,
okay,
like Buy Naija is trying to do, to offtake what the people are producing. And if you give somebody an offtake contract, through that they should be able to advance the person money to produce the beverages he's producing. He can, if he has an offtake contract for rice, so you can now give him finances for equipment.
Do you think the Nigerian micro and small enterprises are ready? It's like you see them not embracing clusters that could make them even...
No, nobody has bothered to sequester them in clusters. Things don't just happen like that. You build a system, like what I'm talking about, shared facility industrial clusters. It requires a lot of money. The state government, some of them are doing a few things in that regard. There are some places in the country now, private sector people are investing in industrial clusters. Somebody builds a facility,
right?
People now come in. Government has tried. They built a few shared facility industrial clusters, but many of them have to be more integrated. There's loose contract-based facilities, so people don't rush into them because there are still bottlenecks there. But I know as time goes on, the system will begin to adjust. But I can assure you, one of the best ways to make sure that these people have access to finance, which is a big problem, number one, they should recognize issue of sequestered and logged offtake contract.
Okay.
That if you are producing so quantity of rice,
right,
we will offtake it. You know, in those days, in the First Republic, when cocoa, granite, palm oil was raining, they had produce inspectors for quality assurance.
Okay.
Then you had the buying agents. They offtake from the farmers at a good price. Then the government and their agents act as the interface for the exports. So with your assured purchase, they are now confident to plant cocoa, to plant palm, to plant this, to plant that. So in our modern times, a good offtake contract regime can solve part of the problem, and the banks agree. You will say because that man is a startup. So even if he brings an offtake contract, bring everything, he won't listen to you.
Exactly.
Most of the banks, they have a policy. I have an incident that I'm involved in. Let me not be nice about it. We have all manner of structures we put in place. We are the main off-takers. Buy Naija helps some people. But I was told that I was a startup. I said, me, startup. After 10 years of being in this business and helping micro, small, and medium enterprise development, and you say I'm a startup?
Maybe they have a criteria. Maybe you haven't...
The criteria is not good for Nigerian entrepreneurs. It is only good for medium enterprise people. I can say I'm a stakeholder. I am involved. I represent the government in some areas. I know the pains of the micro
and small
enterprises. I can feel their pain on a day-to-day basis. You say, "Oga, what thing I go do to help us?" I say, government is trying. We have to defend government.
Just like you have done severally. But
yes.
It gets to how government has really
But
tried.
the crux of the matter is that access to finance is a problem. Loans and grants are advertised, but you will hardly find anybody who have received it. And that is the truth.
Is it because the criteria are often too
I
much?
don't know. They still come to me, say, oh God, do you have access to this? Help us in this. I say, what can I do to help you? So the Nigerian system has to be made more efficient and effective, that even government intentions that are very good can get to its target. So if all these efforts are put together, we'll get results. My joy now is that faith-based initiatives have to arise.
Are they arising? Is that
They
what
are not.
You said your joy.
My joy is that some of them are coming to consciousness of it.
Okay.
NGOs have started. Some faith-based organizations are starting, but
when you say have started, I want to know exactly what they are doing. Are they off taking this product from?
They are not even patronizing their members yet.
Wow.
They are
that's another conversation, exactly.
And now another conversation, because if faith-based organizations, whether Christians or Muslim or whatever, but be an NGO or faith-based organization, because they have the number to offtake. If a member of a particular faith-based organization decide to buy bread that its members produce, Lagos alone demands for more than 10 to 12 million loaves of bread. I think even my statistics could be moribund. Every day.
Every day.
Every day. Lagos has over 23 million to 24 million potential bread eaters. Every day. And each of the faith-based organizations have nothing less than 1 or 2 million bread eaters. Let's just be conservative. If they patronize their members could have access to funds that they themselves can provide.
Exactly. Have you started having these conversations with these faith-based organizations?
Look, I speak pidgin. We are talking about micro enterprise, really English. I don't waka tire, but some are now picking the light. They have the finance, they have the buying power. You can imagine if in a place, all the members that have in a congregation of in the mosque or in the church,
right,
or anywhere, I don't care what you do, everybody eats. Whichever God you call upon, you eat.
You eat.
And there is no denominational hunger. When you are hungry, you don't know the God. You are hungry. You are just hungry, or you are thirsty, or you need to take your bath, you need soap. But if these things are well organized, we won't be looking for finances. It's like when money was scarce, in those days that we were buying money.
When you say in those days, somebody might think it's a very long time ago.
I'm talking about
2 months ago.
2 months ago. 2 months in Nigeria is in those days. Because people are not even, they don't even remember that we had such a problem. Nigerians are very good.
Yes, we are resilient.
They forgot it, they move on.
Past it.
They moved on already. So I'm saying that in the days they were buying money, I've quarreled with so many faith-based leaders in all the divides. In a gathering, I yabbed some big ministers. Say, why did you not, when this thing came out that they were going to change money to new one, how many of you called the banks you put your offering to, whichever divide you belong, whether you are Muslim or Christian, they contribute money?
Exactly.
Did you call anybody, say on Saturday, on Sunday, please bring new notes here or else we will use your bank again? Everybody will show up.
Really?
Yes, now. They didn't do that.
Because the banks at the time also said that they didn't have money. So I don't know how this...
No. By the time you tell the MD of a bank, we are not going to deposit money. We will change bank. The bank who has been lobbying them to be bringing their offering in that particular precinct will offer alternative. Oga will be coming every day to give them new notes. They will call a CBN governor and say, Oga, give us money. Oga, we will lose everything. Something must happen, but nobody did that. It was every man to himself, God for us all. Government cannot do everything. The civil servants have retirement date. He is promoted. The assistant director is promoted to deputy director. The file is still with him to do those things.
Exactly.
But government is continuous, so the man will now review it. Then the other man, suddenly the PAMSEC has retired. So it's not their fault.
Exactly.
So, but you that is a continuity person, the faith-based organization, you see these people every day. You have the numbers. My first, why I tied source of finance and patronage together is that patronage is a source of finance for the man who has produced. So for his advanced production, you can place an order on it.
So there is sure patronage and
yes, so the money is secured.
Yes.
So since the source of patronage and finance might be one and the same, you can use bank interface. It's just an interface. It's there. There was a time I ran a seminar some 6-7 years back, and I was talking about these things. So somebody from in the central bank is in one of the denominations. He said, this thing you are saying, Oga, I just want to contribute. When I opened the seminar for general discussion, they said, if your people, my people, other people could gather money that we know that exists, that there is funding, that 4 or 5 organizations are worth more than 4 trillion in deposits. They doesn't want to count all of them.
Yes, but just 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Just deposit, not their members' money. Institutional money put in deposits that will now be given to the medium and large enterprises to either import or build more factories. Do you understand? He said, this thing you are saying, oh God, let some people know something. I said, what do you want me to do? I'm not controlling the crowd. I've done my bit to articulate the solution. Government cannot do everything. Government has done its best. There is this loan, there is this loan, there is this institution, there is this, there is that. Many people are not even able, they don't even know when the money is to be disbursed or how to go about it. Somebody staying in Yobe does not know the things are being run in Abuja and Lagos. So somebody staying in Sumutong or in Tigidi or in Okanafu, he doesn't know that money exists.
And how he can access it.
How can access it? There are no consultants in his small town. The man has never even been to Uyo. The man from Okanafu has never been to Uyo. He needs money to buy the palm oil production small equipment. He doesn't even know how to access it. He doesn't know. Even if there is a grant, he doesn't know. So there is information gap, number one. Even when all these grants are ready or are available, or some loans are available, many grants come in.
Exactly.
But they never see the light of day. As groups they will pursue some grants. They will never arrive. When they arrive, there's bottleneck. All the COVID grants, I've not had somebody who told me that they received equity. The COVID amelioration grants that came from abroad, we followed due nothing, nada.
I'm surprised hearing that from you, especially because if I was to ask anyone how the COVID grants, for instance, went, you would have been the person to ask. And here you are commending government for all they have done. Meanwhile, you're also admitting that there are bottlenecks that often affect the micro and small enterprises.
Sometimes the bottlenecks are not from government, but a lot of them are from individuals in government. You see, you have to separate some individuals from the government as an institution.
Is it possible? Because
it is now.
Makes the government.
I know, but the Oga has signed the thing. Let it go. This one, it just gets there, and you don't know what negotiation is going on, but the thing will hook somewhere. And they say, but the thing has entered the Nigeria.
Okay, this is a good time to go for a break because we really need sanity in that sector that, like I said earlier, is the lifeblood of Nigeria. We'll go for a short break and return shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back from that short break. We're still discussing the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises and the funding challenge that often happens in that sector. We've been discussing all of this with Apostle William Iheanacho Otabil, Chairman by Naija project. So you were commending government for the many policies that has been in place and how sometimes the grants, government actually approves these grants for this micro and small enterprises. However, it just doesn't get down. So how can we get to see sanity such that these people do access this funding and grant?
It's a continuous exercise. We're trying to see how we can advise. We can only advise for what to put in so that the trickle down gets to the target for which government meant, and the NGOs, international finance agencies that fund some projects, that it gets down. Then there will be some tweaking of some of the implementation processes to make it more efficient. But I want to concentrate more on a huge base that can help the micro and small enterprise people. I don't want to concentrate. I'm not a civil rights activist. I am a rights implementer. Let me put it like that. Let's be practical on what can work very quickly, because the people need the funding. So I cannot be complaining, this is there, this is that. I'm not a complainant. I'm a doer. There is a large potential platform. The faith-based organizations and NGOs in this country. Huge. And they are closer to the people, and they don't have bottlenecks in implementation of their plans and projects. When I talk faith-based organizations, I mean Christians, Muslims, whatever, whichever way. Like I said earlier, everybody eats. Everybody drinks water.
True.
Everybody eats bread. Everybody wears shoes, wears clothes. You drive cars. So as we believe in Buy Naija, it concerns all of us.
It does.
Hunger no denomination. Oh. You know, I'm a street man, so I speak the language of my people. A man who is
hungry, I mean, I
understand. A man who is hungry. He's thirsty. He needs to drink water.
You will take water from anybody.
Anybody. Aha. Now, what am I saying is that most of the denominations have human beings in their base. Only very few are civil servants. The bulk of them are regular people. They are the micro and small enterprise people.
Right.
I went to a place I had a seminar too. I started speaking from 10 till we finished by 6. It was 6 o'clock that we even ate the food they brought and the tea. It was heavy. Everybody was. I asked them a question. A few people I know who have, one lady had a fish farm, one had a garment factory. I knew them by name. One was producing rice and packaging it. So I asked the elders actually gathered.
Okay.
Many pastors gathered, deacons from different locations. And I told, and the local congregation were there. They are elders, they workers. And I raised one sister up. I said, do you know this sister? Some people say yes. Are you aware she has a fish farm? How many people know she has a fish farm? Only very few people raised their hand. So that means you don't even know she has a fish farm. Not to talk of patronage. Okay, this sister, are you aware she has a garment factory? Real garment factory, she has more than 50 machines. Wow. They didn't know. I said, that's the problem. What was I supposed to do? To help them set up, by Naija, help them set up a database of all the products and services offered by their members. They should register.
But should it be that serious? I mean, this is something, if anybody is very passionate about, I would tell all the members in my church that
No, it has to be structured and organized.
Okay.
Because we must know, if there are in our congregation in Abuja, how many bakery owners do we have? They don't know. They don't even know in Lagos, in all organizations. When you don't know what your members are producing, documented,
how can
you tell them to patronize them? So,
but would you say that the Nigerian entrepreneur is facing issues of patronage? And when you say patronage, I would like you to mention.
I'm going back to finance. Now, if you cannot ordinarily patronize the man producing bread, or a sister doing toilet roll, everybody uses toilet roll. If you don't use it to go to toilet, you will use it as serviette to eat.
Right.
Abi? Now the same production line.
Right.
Do you understand? Nobody will tell me not to talk that on TV. Everybody use serviette.
Okay, but let's move on.
No, I'm moving on. No, let's face reality.
Of course,
I'm talking about life now. It's like buying water. So if you don't know that Brother Benga produces serviette and allied products, will you patronize him? No. When you now say, let us put money in Brother Benga's business, it will sound strange. Let him go and look for money for his business. Are we a microfinance bank? That's what you will hear. But if there is a dedicated patronage, now it increases the finances of that brother, where he produces 200 cartons of product X per day. And suddenly the whole organization, the whole mosque, the whole NGO members, the whole this thing, now patronize him, and they have an internal capacity to consume 50 cartons. And if you pay in advance, you get discount. Will that man finance not go up?
It will.
That is the funding. That's why I said from the beginning, I told you I was going to concentrate on micro and small enterprises. And I will tell you the government enablers that been identified, patronage, buy your own, then finance, fund your own. Then when individuals and NGOs and everybody are doing this, nobody will tell government officials to enable the things that will make government enablers not to work. Because it will be pushed on the pulpit.
Okay.
The welfare of the people through their businesses is in the interest of everybody. So even the pastor who is doing full time, or the imam who is doing full time, it is your interest that the people prosper. So you don't need to preach prosperity. Buy bread from Sister Dimpe, from Brother Benga, from Brother Tukudi. Buy shoe from him. From Sister Agnes that has a fish farm. Buy from her. Then when they have an organization of association of bread producers, that is bakery people, they will have an association in the church. We have meeting on Saturday, and they now write, say, by group, our cooperative in this church, we need to pump in an investment of 40 million to even increase capacity to meet the demand from only our church members. They say, Otio, what is that? They have retired people who have idle money.
Okay.
And that seminar I was, and I told all retired directors, both assistant director, deputy director, PAMSEC, stand up here. With all due respect to. At least I know say I insult to myself and the elder.
Okay.
They all rose. I said, what I'm saying, is it a lie? You can invest, you can throw in 1 million or 2 million, you are retired. Legitimate money. He said, we will do it now. They said it. I said, you have ideal capacity. Are you able to mentor young people who are micro entrepreneur people, seeing that they are organized and they are known, that this is what they do? They have an association. He said they are ready.
But do you think that these micro and small businesses often go a step further to have strategies, you know, like marketing strategies and like...
Because we are now providing it for them to help. By Naija to lead. It is the elders in the church that will agree. Let's sequester your people into groups. Garment makers, shoe makers, agro-allied people. You now put them into subsectors. What are you doing? Fish, food and beverages. What are you doing? Bread. I produce honey. You will be, every time I've gone even to Oka and so many places, if you see the people how they are willing. So if you get them together and all the members know that Sister Pinkwe produces bread, people will be buying her brand. Every Sunday they will say, please bring 4, bring 3. So after service, people will buy. People do moi moi and members don't know that they do moi moi.
So is that strategy? What do we do so that our teaming youths who are...
What we want to do by Naija, we want to start a new drive to go to faith-based initiatives. Tell their leaders, please create a platform. This is our plan.
Right.
To help you organize your people. You have enough knowledgeable people. We call them mentor elders. Retired but not tired. They will run it. We will group them to be the mentor elders.
Okay.
Their job is to run the admin and to guide the
what would it entail?
Yeah, we intend to start going from organization to organization. When we get their buy-in. I've told you I've gone to some places.
You said
it's
so.
a process. We now make it more massive. The only thing is that we have to fund ourselves until the thing kickstarts to a point where the organizations themselves and the MSMEs who are now organized, they are now in associations. And everybody sees the benefit and see that if there is sequestered patronage, the church that is not doing that will be forced, because those who see that they are helping them in the other church or the other mosque will move to the other mosque or church or NGO or association, wherever. It's a win-win for everybody, including government.
No, I'm still not clear about what the mentor elders will be doing.
The mentor elders will help to run the template we give to them.
Right.
We will organize them to register. They will have a sub portal in our portal.
Okay.
They can have access to other church members who are organized in Lagos. If you are an Ahmadiyya, other Ahmadiyya members in Lagos will hook up to you. It's an Ahmadiyya community.
Okay.
It's a living faith community. It's a redeemed community. This is a Mountain of Fire community. This is a Cherubim and Seraphim community.
Okay.
You get it now.
Oh,
I
think I have.
You get it. So all the elders in the parishes or zones or mosque, depending on their own administrative setting, we are not interested in your doctrine. We are not interested in your preaching. We are not interested. It's not, you don't come there to evangelize. We are discussing how your youths and your elders, the mentor elders, will provide the idle capacity that they have. Many of them have been trained in many things. The man who retired from Ministry of Agric as a director, he knows many things. He has gone for courses.
He has. So he shouldn't waste, you mean?
Yeah, they are there. He has retired at 60. He's just 64. We call them retired but not tired. So if you see, as those elders, they were very excited that they are ready.
So what's going on with the plan as we speak?
They are wrong. I cannot superimpose my strategies on the administration of their organization. So they will take their time. When they need us, we bring and practicalize the template. We are trying to with some people. When we now do it, we give them guidelines. We'll sign an MOU. We use your people. Nobody is coming from anywhere to come and work. We have elders here who can do it. Every church has. Anywhere, every mosque has top flight people, well trained. They're everywhere. So we now give them the guidelines. They get those people. Your first line of patronage and source of funding for all those people we have organized is your organization.
Okay.
And you have existing and serving bureaucrats there. The bureaucracy you are talking about, they are there.
They are the ones who make it happen
they are the bureaucrating and
in the government setting. So you meet them where.
So the mentor elders who have retired, they run the admin, while the bureaucrats, they will help us remove the bottleneck. It's win-win. And hurdles.
Okay.
And everybody will give testimony.
There's another reason why in that setting, anybody who is investing might be skeptical, because how do you secure this person or trust this person?
There is a platform.
Because those faith-based organizations often do not do enough vetting. It is how many times.
No, they will not do that. When we give them the template, we have a structure called Projects Advisory Board.
Okay, Projects Advisory Board.
They have to set up a board and a vehicle as a special purpose vehicle to implement this, that will be run by the deaconry, that is those mentor elders.
Okay.
Not only will they mentor individual companies according to their grouping in their church. When we see there are more of these ones here, they have association, the mentor elders will be distributed to be in those places to help them with the admin of their own sub-portal. And they will be the interface between, let's assume it is Nawaruddin. The Nawaruddin in Lagos or in Ilorin, they will be, connect. So if there are more competencies there will be interchange. if they need more bread there, or there is more a fish coming out of Ibadan and Ilorin, because Ilorin supplies a lot of chicken to Port Harcourt. Statistics.
Wow.
You get it. So if they are producing more chicken in Ilorin, for instance, the people here can actually be part of the supply chain and be part of the value chain right inside. The money is trapped. Let me tell you something about, I'll use one example.
Okay.
There are many. There are Jews, there are Israel, there are Indians. They practice a modified form of different modifications of this thing. A typical Jew will leave Wuse and go to Gariki to buy bread from a Jew. Is in Gariki. He will bypass all this one. So they have a network. So when you now have internal network, expanded network, everybody is buying from everybody else. It grows. It's not frittered away. So when we now need financing, it is also those mentor elders that will mobilize other elders who are still in service to mobilize that fund to come into the people who they are sure are producing. They are organized. We know Sister Veronica. We know Sister Binkwe. We know Brother Ifeanyi. These people, this group of people.
Yes.
They produce also thing. And they need a capital injection of 100 million for expansion. And we have gone to the market. Our consultants have told us these are the specs. So the project advisory board will approve that estimate. Then they solve the fund. Then the organization of which the project advisory board is bought over. You are not giving money to those individuals. The money comes to the central fund. We know the participants and the needs of each person. Out of the 100 million they need, 60 million is going for equipment specific, and it's also so this is person specification.
Yes. And
they have sourced for the equipment. Some are local, some will have to be imported. There are some local. The elders would have liaised with local vendors.
Exactly.
International vendors. From the liaison with the association people. They want to buy bakery materials. So each baker who is there have said what they want for expansion. Each one doing serviette has said what they need for expansion. Whether it is roller, wrapper, packaging,
whatever I mean.
Everything is doted against Joy and Company. You get it now. Then the other 40 million or 30 million or 20 million is working capital going for salaries and this. So they know they are releasing it, and you are bonded by the takeoff contract you have received. You have covered the money given to you by the anticipated production
from your members.
Yes, it's assured. And everything is monitored. So you don't need to go and bring your grandfather's mustache as collateral. Or go and bring your grandmother's
when you discuss this with traditional financial institutions like our banks and our microfinance banks and all of that, do they feel threatened? Because if this should work,
now you are brilliant. You know why? One of the things they hate. Somebody told me in one bank. You see, Oga, after I made my presentation, just on registration, on our patronage access, he told me that
please go ahead. Please go ahead.
He told me that if this thing works, that the bank will lose out. I said, why? I said, you'll become a bank.
You'll become a bank?
He said, I will just network all these my people. I have the numbers. And if I say, okay, this is how it will work, he said, you'll run your own bank. See, our guy, you don't need us anymore.
Exactly. And you know, if it works, I just
or when
it works, because you're already saying that even those faith-based organizations you've approached are still dragging feet.
There is a particular organization, they have a microfinance bank, just to follow what you're saying. They didn't buy into it because they had a microfinance bank. They give loan at 5% per month. I say, you give a Gary seller 5%, you give her money 5%. That means 60% interest the old woman has paid on the money you give her to be selling Gary. Say about that's a sin. So this setting is such that the project advisory board can retain 20% equity in all the organization. The board members are appointed. If you want to invest in it as a project advisory board member, you can invest your retirement money and have equity. So it's a win-win for everybody. So the idle capacity, there was a place I wanted to tell you something. Please as a closing, that this man told me that idle cash from 4 organizations put in fixed deposit 4 trillion. And I went to do more research and analysis, and I saw that 4 trillion can drive micro, small and medium enterprise. Now this was one faith-based wing. If we go to the other faith-based organizations, add them, we know that they have more than 10-15 trillion.
Wow.
Idle capacity.
But
so in conclusion, I'm not concluding, you conclude.
because I used to brag that this was my show, but you seem to be piloting it. So in conclusion, actually you're right. In conclusion, if God grants us the grace to put these things together, even at 20% success rate, it will change the landscape. Okay, thank you so much, yes. Apostle Williams Iheanacho Otabil. We've been discussing solving the MSMEs funding challenge. This is Joy Asonye Live, but this is where we'll roll the curtains until next week when we'll come back to discuss more. Do have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful evening.